if you're a busy guy who's sick of low confidence, a big belly, and feel like every diet or workout plan was just made for people with unlimited time, energy, then this video is for you. I went from 320 pounds to 210 pounds while working full time as a software developer. No fad diets, no crash diets, so no keto bullshit like that. Just changed my entire relationship with food. So now, I eat my favorite foods guilt free, and I still lose weight. So in this video, I'm going to share my story, and more importantly, that regular guys like you and me can get their dream body, just not not just the movie stars and the unemployed. So if you don't know me, my name is Luke Strassner. I'm a men's fat loss specialist, and I work as a software developer during the day and a fat loss coach during the night and I guess early morning too. I'm 22. I'm busy as hell, as you can imagine. And I know exactly what it feels like to be stuck in a body that you hate while trying to juggle your work, your life, relationships, or, whatever in between. So, one of the big problems that I always found with my weight and dieting, if you even want to call it that, is all the fad diets. There's just so much misinformation with that, and same with the crash diets are just not sustainable. I'm at a point now where I want to make lifelong changes that last for life. So that means I don't want to give up my favorite foods, and I broke my relationship with emotional eating. I fix the excuse of a lack of time. It's not really a real excuse for most people unless you're genuinely super busy. But and before I lost 110 pounds, I had lost 50 pounds before, but I put literally all of it back on. And when I started my fat loss journey, that was just like always in the back of my mind that I needed to do what I could do for life, and because I didn't want it to be a repeat of last time where I put everything back on and more. So, kind of growing up, I guess it'd be best to start early. I grew up really big as a kid, and that honestly took a toll emotionally. I was an emotional eater, so anytime I had a bad day, which kind of sad, but it was pretty decently often, I would just turn to food for that. Or if I was sad or even just bored, I would just go and smack a whole sleeve of Oreos at a time, and obviously that never fixed my problems. It just made it a little bit worse, but in the moment it was great. And I was always extremely unconfident, and that was a result from my weight, but also from just knowing that I didn't have full control over my life like I should have been. And I felt like I honestly would never be fit, and that I was going to be destined to be big my entire life. And honestly, up until I guess this brings me to football. I had played football from the fifth grade through my junior year of college, and then in the early spring of, I guess, my senior year. So at the end of my junior year, regardless, whatever. Um, I was going through the darkest moment of my life, and I was falling out of love with football. And after a decade of doing that, where it was literally everything that I'd always dreamed of was football, 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 and it was the biggest change and the scariest thing I've ever did in my life. Imagine like the way that I would relate it to somebody who's never been in that position is that it's like breaking up with like a girl or somebody that you've been with and you've loved dearly for a decade, and then you fell out of love and you just can't really explain why, but it actually turned out to be one of the greatest things you ever did. And that's exactly what happened to me. I was going through the darkest point of my life, and I walked in the coach's office one day and had a really real conversation with one of my coaches, and he told me not necessarily what I wanted to hear because I was really looking for a reason to stay, but he told me what I needed to hear, and that was that I make what needed to do what would make me happy, and that was quitting football. So, obviously, like I said before, I had lost 50 pounds before, and I put 50 plus another 60 back on, and I really wanted to do it right this time, and I really didn't know where to start because the time before that, the way that I did it was I didn't track any foods. I just kind of focused on protein, which is actually like pretty solid advice. But for me, like I'm a big eater and I'm a very naturally big eater, like not even emotional eating aside, all of that. Like if I don't track my food and tell myself no, like I can't have something, then I would be about 400 pounds right now because my natural set point is I just want to eat, 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 eat. So really, what I had to figure that along the way, how to actually figure out how to tell myself no was the biggest thing. But one of the important things that I did very early on that made it all possible was I set a goal. And for some of you, that might not make a lot of sense because a goal is kind of arbitrary. Like for some, it doesn't mean something. But for me, a goal is everything because I believe that you can't be disciplined if you don't have a goal to be disciplined for. Like you, I feel like it's really tough to stay disciplined when you're just eating to be healthier versus you're eating to lose 50 pounds in 6 months. Like that is a much more tangible goal, and it's something that you know that you're working towards. And that's what helped me stay disciplined was I set a goal. But when I started, the Luke that started this in April 2024 at 320 pounds could have never ever lost 110 pounds. Like honestly, and that might sound weird, but it's because I've had such like a mindset transformation. Like I am just not the person that I used to be anymore. And breaking those lifelong habits did not happen overnight. I failed a lot, and I needed to figure out ways to change my relationship with food. And one of the big ways that I stopped myself from going back to old habits, I asked myself this like really simple question, and it's, do I want this food, like this burger, more than I want my goals in the future? And a lot of times I wanted my goals. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes I did want the food more. And I was completely honest with myself. It's like sometimes you do need like something just to taste good, just to taste good. But that really helped me stay accountable when I was more focused on, my goals than the food. Another one that I asked myself is, you know, my taste buds are going to remember this right now when I eat this, but in the morning, the only thing I'm going to remember is the calories that I ate. I mean, imagine in 6 hours, you're not going to really care about how good that extra burger tasted, but you're going to care that you're going to feel a little shitty about yourself that you had the extra burger. And I don't want to drop too many of my like quotes or whatever. But the last one is short-term comfort versus long-term gain. Uh, a lot of times I ask myself like, yes, this would comfort me in the moment, but this is not getting me closer to my long-term goals. And I really truly believe that if you're not going towards your goals, you're getting further away from them. So one of the I had a lot of takeaways from losing 110 pounds, and most of the most impactful takeaways that I got from that has nothing to do with the mirror or the scale. It's finding what actually works for real guys like me, like you, that work hard and have a career, and but you still want to eat your favorite foods and lose weight. So that was one of the big ones for me, was finding out how to still enjoy my favorite foods. And for me, I love peanut butter. I can't tell you the last day I've gone without eating a little bit of peanut butter just because it tastes so good. And it's one that I absolutely refuse to give up. I gave it up for a while, and honestly, every day I missed it. And I know I sound nutty for that, no pun intended. Um, but yes, I do still eat my favorite foods, but I'm very disciplined. Other than that, I track literally everything I eat. So yes, I'm eating my favorite foods, but I make it fit within my daily macronutrients and my calorie goals. An app you can use for that is MyFitnessPal. It's completely free. As much as I wished I could say I'm sponsored with them, I have no affiliation. And then the other thing that I did on a very daily basis is 8,000 steps. It's just such a simple way to get a lot of movement throughout the day, whether that's on a walking pad, a treadmill, just going out for the neighborhood walks, or I mean, you could even count like running or cardio as steps, but I personally am not a fan of cardio. Um, excuse me. For the most part, I go to the gym about 5 days a week, most weeks. Um, it's about, 3 on, 1 off, and then maybe sometimes there's an extra rest day in there. But, I'm really consistent with that. And I'm at a point now where it's not that I feel guilty for missing the gym. It's like I genuinely miss it because I'm kind of addicted to going to the gym now. And that's something that you'll find after working really hard at the gym for a long period of time, like you get a little bit of a high, like, and it's addicting to go in there and work hard. And above all else, like, I'm a different person than I used to be. You know, I mean, I never even thought about macros or calories or is this food generally good for me? Like, I follow the 90-10 rule now, which is 90% good foods, 10% kind of whatever I want, and I can fit that into my calories. But I make a point of it every single day to do something that I don't want to do, and that is such a huge factor of my personal growth. And a lot of times in life, I find that the things that I don't want to do the most are the things that I have to do to grow. So that was really a breakthrough moment when I figured that out for me. It was, if I really don't want to go do something, it means that I really have to if I want to be a better man for it. And because kind of some conclusion, or I guess takeaways that I want you to take away from this video is literally anybody can lose fat, but not everybody can sustain it. And that's why fad diets or crash diets are so popular, because it allows you to lose fat. Like, yes, you can definitely lose a lot of fat by cutting out carbs, but if you're like me, you can't live without eating bread or pasta or rice. So it's not going to work for me because I have to sustain it. You have to earn the right to sustain your fat loss, and that doesn't happen through cutting out foods. Like, you literally have to learn how to eat right. You can't just remove whole food groups and then reintroduce them and expect to sustain your weight, because what happens when you reintroduce them? You put weight back on. I want you to know that my story really isn't special. I'm really just a regular guy that figured out, what it takes to get to my dream body. And yes, I do offer coaching, but that's really only for very serious people. I can't do the work for you, but I give my clients every resource, opportunity, and all the accountability that I can give. And part of the accountability thing is, they're in a community with each other. So half of the time they're kind of coaching themselves, which really is wonderful to see. And it really does, like, it's kind of corny, but it fills up my cup, man. Like, I love it. And regardless of everything I've said in this video, I believe in you, even if you don't. And I want you to set a goal today. Just make a promise to yourself, because maybe, hopefully, you're inspired by my story. But tomorrow when you wake up, you're going to not even think about this video ever again. But this inspiration that hopefully you're feeling right now needs to turn into discipline. And the only way it can do that is with you setting a goal. So, when you want to give up, just remember your why, and that'll push you towards your goal, and you will make progress. So thank you for watching.